We're talking about all the things you need to know to get better at strength and conditioning as a coach for 2023. I'll be discussing performance gyms in the private sector that you need to check out all around the country, courses and conferences to check out, as well as academy and memberships. So if you have any questions and you're tuning in via YouTube, use the comment section below, or for those tuning in on Instagram, feel free to send through any questions or queries, and I'll answer them straight away. But we'll get straight into the first part. So that's performance gyms. Starting with Melbourne, we've got Christian Woodford's gym, Woodford Sports Science Consulting. You've got Core Advantage, Athlete Authority have just opened up a space, and Sixth Principle. So they're probably top of mind, the top four to check out if you need to get work experience or you want to learn your craft in the private sector. Check out those performance gyms. Then in Sydney, Athlete Authority. Adelaide, you got Peak Performance, as well as Ian McEwen's new gym, Game Ready. And then over in Perth, you've got Chris Perkins' West Coast Health and High Performance Space. So private sector, make sure to check those out and follow those on your socials, all the strength and conditioning coaches, as well as from an academy point of view or membership. You've got Play, you've got Science for Sport, you've got Athletes Authority, their strength personal training certificate. And of course, you've got my academy membership. So we've got two. We've got one for footballers, for developing footballers, which is a value add for anyone following our program or working with our coaches. They get our academy membership for free. But then we've got a whole separate membership just for coaches, high performance staff, physiotherapists, personal trainers, anyone that's working in the fitness industry, that's running their business, or currently work in elite sport or want to work in elite sport. Our membership is for you. So there's weekly and monthly content that I update in the membership, as well as in the future. It's only 6 months old, but in the future I'll be bringing in guest experts for workshops, and that all the content is free and exclusive for our academy members. There's a discussion forum, so it's highly engaging. You can post questions. A lot of my weekly update topics, as well as monthly exclusive Get Better Plan presentations that only academy members see, comes from our community, the academy members. So if that interests you, I'm happy to throw in a 7-day trial. Just direct message us on our socials and I'll send you a free coupon link. But yeah, if you're looking to work in the industry, or you're currently working in the industry and you want to start your own business, check out our academy. Then from courses point of view, you've got, of course, the Australian Strength and Conditioning Association level 1, 2, and 3. I'm lucky enough to completed those 3. I believe there's now a level 0 that you need to complete to earn the right to do level 1. That wasn't the case when I started out. So level 0, level 1 are relatively easy weekend commitments, and you can tick those off pretty quickly. And they're basic level, entry level knowledge. Level 2 and 3 are a lot more advanced, and there's some highly experienced world-class coaches and practitioners on those levels. So highly recommend working your way up into doing those courses. The workbook post-course is not easy, but worthwhile pursuing, as there's some great learning along the way with that. And then, of course, the yearly conference as well, something I've done. I've been to 2, one in Melbourne and one in Queensland, and it's a great opportunity to keep your finger on the pulse with where the industry is heading, listen to a lot of great presenters, as well as network and meet new people in the industry. So highly recommend the ASCA conference. Then you've got your placement as well. So for those that have done their Masters or Bachelor of Sports Science, you'd be familiar with completing 200 hours at a sporting club for those that want to work in sport. However, if you haven't enrolled in your bachelor's degree, or you just currently completed your placement and it didn't get you a full-time job, and you still want to hone your craft and you're not currently working in sport, then absolutely reach out to clubs. The best time to do that would be in the off season, just before pre-season starts. It's typically when, before Christmas, from an AFL point of view, is the best time for high performance staff to bring in students or people that just want to cut their teeth and observe and be a fly on the wall and basically gain experience and knowledge of what it takes to be a strength and conditioning coach in the AFL. So October, November, December is your best time. Soon as middle of January, February rolls on, and particularly once it gets in season, it becomes a lot harder to get into the elite environments, because we want to just keep it consistent for the athletes, not introduce new people. So typically, that's your best time, but there's never enough experience, I think, from a volunteering point of view, that you can't get. So if you want to get experience from a sports science point of view, shadow a sports scientist, working at a club, strength and power, head up a strength and power coach, or if it's high performance management that you want to work on, make sure to reach out to a high performance manager. And then the last part that I'd highly recommend, and I've gained a lot from, and something that I want to pursue a lot more over the next few years, is actually paying for a mentor and doing one-on-one sessions, whether that be via Zoom or face-to-face. I paid for 4 sessions with John Pryor to really understand the coordinative-based movements, your French Bosch type movements, and how I integrate that into a strength and power program and rehabilitation process. And I saw great value in that. Obviously, it's really customized experience to you. So the questions that you're asking and the experience that you get gaining from that, for me, outweighs doing your generic courses. Once you've done those basic level courses that we need to do early on, I think from then on to really gain a real clear understanding on how to integrate a new methodology into your philosophy, I like the one-on-one mentoring. So some guys that I would recommend to check out, and certainly would be worthwhile, would be John Pryor, Harry Simpson also is someone I've reached out and caught up for coffee with. And if you want to work and learn the French Bosch method, that would, from a practical point of view, Harry's a star. Alex Nevtira from a force plate objective measure and how to use 4 plates in your strength program. And then high performance managers, just to name a few: David Joyce, Andrew Russell, Darren Burgess, Selwyn Griffith, from a return to performance point of view, learning his processes, who's currently my high performance manager at Melbourne. That would be just a collective few. There'd be heaps more out there, but if you don't have the luxury to work with any of those guys in an environment and you can't get placement with them, then the next best thing is investing in one-on-one time. And if there's one benefit that we got from COVID, it's that we're pretty used to working on Zoom. And all it takes is just to reach out to the coaches. They may not have time at the moment, but see if you can book in a time and pay for their time, and I'll guarantee you'll get great value out of that. So they're the key areas if you want to get better at your coaching in 2020 that I'd focus on. So as a key takeaways, performance gyms, checking out the private sector, that's a massively growing space. And I actually did a collab podcast with a lot of those guests that I mentioned in their gyms last year. So if you look on our YouTube channel, you can watch that. It's all about the private sector and how fast it's going in Australia and how it's learning from the American processes and systems over there. Then you've got your academy and membership platform. So if you want to learn in your own time and be able to watch and then implement what you're learning, following from a membership, then checking out Science for Sport, Play Academy, and our Prepare Like a Pro Coaches Academy. And you've got your learning in ASCA conference and level 1, 2, and 3. For sports science, probably ESSA is a little bit more specific and not something that I've pursued a great deal in. But you'd have to do your own research on that. But I highly recommend the ASCA courses. And then you've got your placement, which is sort of your traditional way to get your work experience and foot in the door. And then your mentoring. So like I mentioned, happy to offer in a 7-day trial. Just hit us up on our socials and I'll get you sorted. In terms of this week's podcast, we have a massive week on the show. I've got Rhett Larson, who's well known for his engaging warm-ups and how to create and add fun to a high-performance environment. He'll be on at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Then our weekly podcast, actually, I'll be interviewing Louis Marza today. So it's currently 12:30. That will be in 30 minutes for those listening in live. Make sure to tune in via our YouTube channel. Otherwise, if you listen to this podcast, that will release this Wednesday on our podcast. And then Friday, our bite-sized interview with Cameron Falloon, who's the CEO of Body Fit. That was a great interview that I did last year. And this is a bite-sized clip that's coming out this Friday. So if you enjoy the 10 minutes bite-size, make sure to listen to the whole interview by searching for Cameron Falloon on your favorite podcasting app. Every week, I shout out another podcast. This week, it's the High Performance Podcast, episode 180 with James Clear, who's the author of Atomic Habits. One of the best episodes I've ever listened to in terms of how to be really clear on your processes and your communication with whoever you're working with, and how you impact your today will impact your tomorrow. So all the little things amount, and the habits that you do are forming your future self. So I really liked how James Clear broke that down, and it's something that I've been aware of his book, and it's definitely on my radar to read his book after listening to that podcast. So highly recommend checking out the High Performance Podcast, episode 180 with James Clear. And that's it for this week. So if you've got any questions regarding strength and conditioning, high performance sport, perhaps you want to work in the AFL, more than happy to help out. If you're loving the podcast, I'd really appreciate if you could rate and review and subscribe to our podcast, or even just share the link with a friend that you think would enjoy the show. And I'll see you guys next week.